So we're looking here at a tree that's been staked properly, and I'm just going to show you a couple things that we'll want to look for. You can see on this tree we've got some sort of specialized equipment, some straps and some stakes that are particularly built for this job. But you can really use anything. Any sturdy pieces of wood or metal will work for the stakes, and any soft and sort of relatively pliable but strong substance will work for the straps. What you're looking for with the straps really is when you attach it to the tree, you want to make sure that there's room for the tree to grow, and that it's not going to chafe the bark. So here you can see there's enough room in here that I can fit my finger very easily in there. It gives it some room for the tree to grow through the year. And also it's important to notice that there's these straps and these stakes are not super tight. You want to make sure that there's room for the tree to move a little bit, because what we're trying to do is not hold up the tree forever. Rather, we're trying to just give it a little support so it can build its own strength, so that when we remove all the stakes, it will be able to hold itself up. So in order to do that, we got to give it a little room to move in the wind, but enough to hold it up. When you're putting the stakes in, if you've just planted the tree, it'll be easy to know where the root ball is. You want the stakes to go in kind of just outside that root ball zone, usually something like 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet away from the trunk. 2 feet's kind of on the bigger end. Again, most trees won't need staking. Really, the stakes are only going to be if you're planting in a particularly windy spot. This spot gets very windy, so these trees need a little extra support. Or sometimes if you're planting a bare root tree, or it's a very, very small tree, and it's having trouble standing on its own. Really, ideally, stakes are kind of a last resort. You want that tree to be able to grow and learn to support itself. So we have this tree staked. You can see that where the stakes are attached, you want it to be right about 3 to 4 feet off the ground, kind of like if you reached right out with your hand, more or less in that zone. Depending on the tree, it might be a little higher or lower if it's a bigger or a smaller tree. And you want to make sure when you attach it that you're really not disturbing any branches or things like that. And it's a pretty simple thing. We'll put the stakes in as close to directly opposite one another as possible. And you want to sort of, with the tension on the straps, sort of balance each other. So this tree is not kind of being forced to one side or the other, but is just being supported right in the center of those two stakes if you can. It's a pretty simple process. There's nothing to it. You want to make sure those stakes are secure in the ground. Again, make sure that the tree has a little bit of room to grow, the trunk to grow outwards, and then also a little bit of room to move. You want the stakes and the straps to be supporting the tree, but not holding it up. And then once you've got that all set, you should be good to go. You might wait for a stiff breeze just to make sure everything's where you want it to be. But you can see, I will give this tree a little bit of a shake. You can see that I can move that tree around. It is not, there's plenty of slack in those stakes, so that the tree gets extra support, but is not being totally held up. And then you're going to leave those stakes on for generally one growing season would be enough. So if you plant in the spring and you put the stakes on, by the end of the following spring, you should be good to go. And you'll know if you go out and check the tree and give it a little wiggle and it's still very loose, then you could leave the stakes on a little bit longer, but it's pretty rare case that happens. What might be going on then is that your soil is very, very loose, very wet soil, and there might be some other things going on with your tree if that happens. So that's it, really. It's a pretty simple process. What you'll need, again, is 2 stakes. Occasionally you could use 3, but that's really only in the most extreme cases. So you'll need 2 stakes, which can be wood, metal, really anything that's sturdy. And you'll need 2 straps, and you can buy specific straps to stake trees, or you can improvise with whatever you have around. You want it to be soft so that it's not going to upset the trunk, not going to chafe on the trunk as it moves in the wind. You want them to be a little bit pliable, a little bit of give, and strong enough to support the tree in a stiff breeze. And that's it. Again, if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to us at treeutah.org. Email us questions through our website.